Welcome. What story shall I share with you today? Please close your eyes quietly, listen carefully, and immerse yourself in our tale. Today's story is about a daughter who lost her father. She spent 3 years caring for him, and she was exhausted. So let's take a look at the story together. It's titled, Remembering My Father. My father died today. To be honest, I feel relieved. He had been hospitalized for 3 years, and caring for him had become our family's responsibility. It was exhausting. As the head of the family deteriorated, we all had to work to earn money and consistently pay for his hospital bills. That wasn't all. On days I wasn't working, I had to take care of him, which strained my friendships as well. That's how our family endured these 3 years. In a way, my father's death was a liberation for us. When I returned home, I started to sort through his belongings and found a familiar black object. It was my father's cherished video camera. As if mesmerized, I started to play it. Oh, come on! Dad! Hold it properly. You spilled it. I'm sorry. Enough. Move aside. A voice full of irritation. As my father dropped the spoon, not only his clothes but also the blanket became stained with food. Did he realize how much trouble it would be to wash it? It was my mother who stopped me from irritably wiping the food off my father. Sweetie, let me do it. You go outside. My irritable departure was captured on the video, which ended showing only my mother cleaning up the spilled food in a somber atmosphere. The recent videos were mostly like that. I was always irritable with my father, and my mother, who was filming, was busy trying to calm me down. Why did you even record this? It makes me look bad. I felt uneasy. I certainly hadn't done anything wrong. If anything, I was the victim. But from these videos, it almost seemed as though I was the one at fault. I was about to close the video camera, annoyed, when for the first time, a laugh from the camera stopped me. Dad, how's that? Feeling better? Huh? Yes. It's so refreshing thanks to you. There I was on the screen, diligently wiping my father's body. Comparing then to now, I was much younger, and my father looked far more energetic than before his decline. Was this already 2 years ago? Seeing us smiling at each other felt good. Remembering that there were days like this, I kept watching the camera. The videos continued day by day. The most recent ones were short and infrequent, but the older ones were longer and more frequent. And the laughter increased. Oops, I spilled again. Don't worry, Dad. I'll clean it up. Heh, thank you, my dear. No, Dad! Just trust me. Unlike my recent irritable self, there I was, smiling as I cleaned up after my father. Back then, our family was full of hope. We believed that my father would soon overcome his illness and that our daily lives would return to normal soon. However, as days passed, my father's condition worsened, and he began to say sorry more often than thank you. It became increasingly difficult to watch. I was about to turn off the video camera again, but once more, a voice from the camera stopped me. Honey, are you sure you want to record this? Yes, this is very important. We might need it someday. My father's meaningful response made me look at the camera again, where his face filled the screen. Is it recording well? Yes, don't worry. Okay, then I'll start. With a tense look, my father stared into the camera and then smiled as he began to speak. Ah, my daughter. Can you see well? I'm leaving this message because I have something to tell you. My dear daughter, if I am right there beside you now, this would be a fun video. But if I'm not, it probably means I can no longer be by your side. Thump! It felt like my heart was plummeting. Even though I was on the verge of dropping the video camera, my eyes couldn't leave it. No matter what, I'm really sorry. My daughter, it must have been very hard for you. You probably felt a lot of resentment towards me. But remember, my dear, you've done nothing wrong. It's all because this inadequate father couldn't do his part properly. So, I hope you never feel guilty. My daughter, you are always so kind, no matter what anyone says. Let's keep being happy. I love you very much. Goodbye. The sound of my mother sobbing off camera filled the air. Perhaps they both had anticipated from the start that my father might not recover. Sob! Sob! Tears I hadn't shed at the funeral began to overflow, and I started to cry loudly. I'm sorry for being irritable. My father must have suffered more than me. Yet, he never showed it. I'm sorry for being a nuisance. When I was young, my father would play with me all day long after work, even until I fell asleep. Yet, I carelessly handled the responsibility of caring for him when he became ill. I'm sorry for ignoring you. Despite that, my father always tried to speak to me. But I had given up on talking to him. Until the very end. Amidst unstoppable tears, the video camera began replaying the moment it first started recording. We're going to record from now on. Why are we recording? Well, I want to remember forever how hard my daughter worked for me. Then, I should be even nicer to Dad. I'm looking forward to watching this video later. The image of my father, healthy before his hospitalization, stayed on the screen. I watched it silently for a long time. How was the story today? Have you already fallen asleep? If so, I hope you have sweet dreams. This has been the second Dreamtime story for children and adults in need of healing, remembering my father. Thank you.